Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Brittany Branyan, and I serve as Director of Carey Center Collegiate and Community Programs, to include the nonprofit affiliate program, currently serving over 125 nonprofits in East Alabama and beyond. Welcome to Nonprofits and Self-Care. I am so excited about this program and have been for a while. I'm so grateful for Patricia Butts for joining us to help us all who are struggling with taking care of ourselves these days. Before we begin, I would like to share a little more about the Nonprofit Affiliate Program for those of you who are unfamiliar. The Carey Center Nonprofit Affiliate Program fosters a community of educators, professionals, organizations, and students who have a desire to embody philanthropy, nonprofit studies, and leadership in their professional and personal lives. We provide professional development and networking opportunities to include Mix and Mingles, the Carey Center Volunteer Internship and Career Fair, Meet Me at the Vic, and the Carey Center Nonprofit Summit. In addition to these events, now more than ever, we are focusing on professional development and learning opportunities. Carey Center nonprofit affiliates are the first to learn of upcoming programming, and membership is free. And before we start, go ahead and mark your calendars for our next program on audit and nonprofits with Himmelwright, Hughley, and Bowles on Wednesday, November 9th at 10 a.m. I will put all this information in the chat as well at the end. And keep an eye out on our Facebook page for registration details, and make sure you are on our mailing list to receive information about these upcoming events. Now, let's get to the reason you are all here. Please join me in welcoming today's speaker, Patricia Butts, Executive Director of the Lee County Literacy Coalition. Ms. Butts has over 20 years of experience in change management, public relations, strategic planning, program performance, staff development, and education and training. Patricia's career has always been about service. After serving in the United States Army, she worked with military families in the States and abroad at Fleet and Family Support Centers in the Hampton Roads, and Commander, Navy Installations Command in Washington, D.C. Her passion for civil rights and the history of culture in Alabama evolved into an opportunity with the National Park Service. Patricia helped promote awareness and increased visitation for Tuskegee Institute National Historic Site, Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site, and the Selma to Montgomery National Historic Trail, while in her role as management analyst and public information officer. Her participation in the Selma to Montgomery's 50th anniversary ignited a call for action. Volunteerism and advocacy were natural progressions. Patricia has shared her time and talent in leadership roles with Alabama Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Alabama CASA. And now with Lee County Literacy Coalition, Ms. Butts is skilled in working in complex systems involving private sector, government, philanthropic organizations, community groups, and educational institutions. She is excited about the new direction of the organization. Rebranding and delivery styles will introduce increases in outreach, service delivery, and literacy rates in the state of Alabama. Every adult has the right to literacy. And I challenge you to go ahead and check out, they are doing amazing things on Facebook, programs, virtual programs as well, which I can drop in the chat. I just love Lee County Literacy Coalition. Originally from Virginia, Patricia is pleased to call Alabama home. Ms. Butts was appointed by the Board of Directors on May 1st, 2019. So everyone, please help me welcome Patricia Butts.
Hello, everybody. I think I know some of the names out here. It's hard to look at the blank screens, but I'm just gonna pretend I see smiling faces behind you. I just wanna give you all an opportunity right now. I just wanna say, I hope you all are staying well and safe. I wanna say happy Thanksgiving in case I forget at the end, and you all get a pass to go to the head of the line right now. Because as nonprofit professionals, we always, most of the time, don't say always, because it's absolute, are at the back of the line. So today, right now, in this moment, you are charged to get to the front of the line. So today, what we're going to talk about is the roles that you play, all the many roles, all the hats that you wear, and how we can navigate and take care of ourselves. Because usually, again, we're at the back of the line. So let me bring up my slide deck just to share with you. And I need you all to send me some energy in here, in this room, because as you know, it's hard to share this way because you don't have the faces looking at you. So what I want to talk about right now is all the things that we have as nonprofits ahead of us. We've got COVID-19, we've got payroll, we've got budgets, we got fundraisers or no fundraisers, we've got staff, we got morale to deal with, we've got the board to deal with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how do we manage or understand the stress? So we know that stress is actually a reaction to something that's going on outside, how we deal with it on the inside. So a couple of things. There are work-related stresses and there are life-related stresses. So we're talking about work-related. Give you some examples. As you all know, job security, working remotely can be stressful because somebody might be mowing the lawn outside. We're grateful that the Wi-Fi is working right now. We're also could be stressed about work-related stress is meeting that payroll, digital illiteracy, examples of life stresses that we all may be struggling with right now. It could be homeschooling. Oh my God, everybody's homeschooling. Financial, marital problems, elderly relatives that we need to care for. So all of these life and work-related stresses are called stressors. And what we want to do, and they make our body respond to those. So for me, I know when I'm stressed. So let me ask you a question. I know when I'm stressed when, and you all enter in the chat pot. For me, my eye starts to tinkle. It starts to just tick. So my eye starts ticking. So I know that I'm stressed. I also know when I'm stressed when I can't complete a sentence. So I'm a little stressed right now, but I'm gonna wind out of that because I know I'm in a group full of other people that are cheering me on. So I know when I'm stressed, when those sort of things happen. So I encourage you to take hold of that stress. One thing that we can do to start off is to be present and share the load as nonprofit professionals. If you're the lead of that organization, or if you are a staff person of the organization, you have to own your work. So manage thoughts to reduce your stress, because we know that thoughts become things and then things become barriers and so forth and so on. So we also want to manage our actions to reduce stress. So what are some of the things that you guys do to reduce your stress? For me is usually walking around the block or looking at cartoons. I think during the pandemic, I've watched probably more cartoons than I have in my whole adolescent life. So whatever that thing is, you have permission to do it. You know, create a space where you can de-stress yourself, especially if you're the lead of an organization or nonprofit right at this time. Now we're going to get into environment. What do we do for our environment? Let me see if I can get this slide deck to move. There we go. So environment is everything. What's the climate in your workspace? Now, let me just say, my environment doesn't look like this at work, but I'm going to hope that one day it could. But environment is everything. We know in the age of Marie Kondo and how we're trying to declutter our lives, the space that we work in or create in matters. So what's the climate in your workplace? When people come in, how do they feel? What do they see? We as leaders can change that environment with a can of paint, with everybody take a pause and tidy up or clean up, things that we can do to decrease that distraction One thing that I want you to consider is to focus on productivity versus that 9 to 5 mentality. So now that some of us have the option to work remotely, we've got to engage our staff to be able to do what they say they're going to do and meet that deadline and those sorts of things. So give them the room to do that, and it will reduce that anxiety around working and also trying to figure out the new normal right now. Modeling good leadership. So your staff is looking at you. So if you're stressed out and discombobulated, guess what? So will they. So they're trying to figure out how you are managing it. If they see you taking a walk, if they see you taking a lunch break, if they see you taking a mental health day, if that's allowed in your organization, if they see you doing some self-care, they will so inclined take that lead from you to do the same. So if your staff is well, your organization can become healthy. One thing that I'll say, if you don't do it, get a theme song. Have any of y'all ever thought about that? I like the movie Kill Bill. It's pretty violent. I like it because of Lucy Liu. And when she went to chop the head off, I know this is violent, but it's just a movie. And there's a theme song when her entourage is walking in. And I'll see if I can find it and send it to you all, but it's just so empowering to me. So find a theme song. That might be something you can come up with for your organization, and play that theme song as you begin the day, because music is empowering and it's also healing. So you want to think about that. The last thing that I'm talking about in environment is everything, is succession planning. And I know a lot of people may or might not think about it, but you as the lead should really be thinking about who's got next. Who is that next generation of philanthropic leaders? Are you grooming them? Are you hiring different positions? If you can't hire, consider cross-training those jobs or job sharing, so that you're leaving breadcrumbs for that next person behind you, or that next person to take that role, because that really strengthens and makes the organization that you're leading healthy. So that, and also allows you to take a day off because you have confidence in your staff. They know what they're doing, and they can step up when you need a moment to recharge. And that helps you, allows you to afford you that opportunity to do the same. Do I have any questions or some comments or some yays or nays on what I'm sharing with you? Also, I just want to say that everything that I'm saying or sharing today is some things that you already have in your toolkit. What I want to do today is to encourage you to begin a practice, because we know that we can have all these things in our toolkit, but if we don't take them out and put them into practice, it'll never happen. So I want you to find at least 1 or 2 things that you can engage or adopt and bring it to your organization to make better. I have a question from you guys, and if you could like thumbs up if you've heard of it. How many of you have heard of the fish philosophy? I hear some handshakes or head shakes. So if you've heard of Ken Blanchard, he did like Who Moved My Cheese? That's kind of old maybe. But the fish philosophy came out of Seattle, when these folks had just a horrible work morale, because what they did was they shelled fish, and that's like a smelly job, no pun intended. But what they did is come up with a philosophy, and that's why it's called fish philosophy, where they have 4 things. I know some of you have heard of the 7 habits of highly effective people, but the fish philosophy has 4, and that's play, be there, make their day, and choose your attitude. And that's a philosophy that your organization can adopt. And that's what you do every day. You play, you be there, being present, you make somebody else's day, and you actually choose your attitude. So we could wake up in the morning and choose how we're going to feel. We might not want to, might fight it, but we can definitely choose that attitude. So I want you to figure out what the philosophy is, because if everybody is talking the same language, then your organization will be fresher and more healthier, and people can be more productive. So I call it the Google mentality, because I want, if the staff that works with me can do the work at 11 o'clock at night, and I know they can do it, it doesn't matter to me as long as it gets done. So communication, that's a big deal right now, especially during the COVID. So how are y'all managing with that? Dealing with communication, and whether we're communicating with our fur babies or our real children or our coworkers or our family members or our moms or our dads or whatever we're dealing with, we have to have clear expectations when we communicate. So that's, in the workplace, it's setting policies and procedures, clear expectations for the workload and deadlines, and that alone will reduce the anxiety. If we know what's expected of us, we know that we can go about the process of completing that task. So that's important, to set clear expectations for your staff. And that could be clear expectations from your board to you, and then you on to your staff, or you as a supervisor on to the folks that you help run the organization. And appropriate means of communication. Let me just point out one thing. So we're working remotely, we're working, we got email, we got the cell phone, we got all these tethered things that that people can reach us, that we got the landline, all of these things, texting, FaceTime, we can't get away. So in setting those expectations, I encourage you to set a time that you will receive calls, return emails, the times that you're going to take calls in your office, so you can kind of reduce those distractions, because there are probably many, because if you didn't, you would answer calls, take emails, receive texts all through the day, and then when will the work be done? And then you're like backed up into a corner of what's going to happen. So let me roll back into how to handle that. So we want to begin with the end in mind. So if we've got grants to get done, this is the grant writing season. If we've got payroll to do, year-end ask, et cetera, you start with the end, and then you plan going back and put in the big rocks, because the whirlwind is going to happen when the grant needs another document or this or that. So plan the big rocks first and use your calendar. So it segues into calendars and schedules, and whether you use paper calendars or electronic calendars, they can be your best friend. I don't do anything until I say, if somebody asks me to do something, I was like, let me check my calendar, because I want to check it to see if I can add that to one of the things that I can do. And then not just if I have that blank space on my calendar, I need to have the time to complete the task in weeks prior. So that makes sure that I'm on time and I'm on target for what needs to happen. So I look back, not just the date that they're asking, I look back to see if I've got time to be prepared for whatever that task might be. And that reduces your anxiety. That takes care of you as a nonprofit professional. And then you can put it in your calendar. You know you've set up time to prepare for it, and that can help you to move forward. So some of the technology driven, I'm a little bit of a computer nerd, is Google Meet, FaceTime, WhatsApp, Zoom, GoToMeetings, Monday.com. If you've not heard about them, it's a small stipend where you can get all the tasks for all of your employees or the staff that you're working with, and everybody knows who's on first, who's doing what's completed. You can also use Microsoft Teams to do the same thing. So or even Google Docs. So let some of the technology do some of the heavy lifting for you, and engage your entire staff, because we don't know where that great idea may come from. So communicate with them the vision for the organization and find out what rocks you need to plot, and ask them, because you don't know, they may have the next big thing, and we've not engaged them. So incorporate them in some of those activities. If you're not having a monthly meeting or weekly meeting, try having a quarterly meeting and let everybody know where you are in your vision for the organization, and engage them in being a participant in it. So what else in communications do we have? Just doing a disclaimer. So if you come in the morning and you're not feeling so great, you can choose to change the attitude, or you can just do a disclaimer. Hey, you guys, I'm not feeling so great, but I'm okay. So folks won't be tiptoeing around you, or that could be for anybody in the organization. So these are some of the things that you can do to improve communication, to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and it definitely can reduce your stress. This is just a way to take care of you. Now, work-life balance. So compassion fatigue and burnout is real. That's real, right? For nonprofits, it's so super real. So I want to ask y'all to invest in some training for your staff. And it could be a webinar you guys could watch together. You could just press the pause button and you all just get together and do some visioning, or you all get together and just talk about how COVID is you're dealing with via Zoom or Facebook or whatever, or you talk about, how you're dealing with homeschooling. Let your staff and your team know that you care, and you all might be able to brainstorm some things that can help everybody. So get together, many hands make light work for it. So talk to them about how you can organize and increase morale, and it'll improve relationships. If there's somebody on your staff that you're not quite meshed with, this is a time to take them to do a virtual coffee break and just talk to them. Because when you can get along, I'm not saying being besties, but when you like people you work with, you have a better work ethic, you all communicate better, you give each other grace if there's a mistake that happens, or you can help back someone up a little bit better. So all of these things help with a work-life balance. Build in well-being days. You're like, what's that? It could be a sick day, but you can call it a well-being day, or what we call it a mental health day. So if one day you wake up, or someone in your staff wakes up, if you have that capacity to do it, it could be one of the sick days or the personal days that people call it a well-being day, so they can take that day. And if you're job sharing or you have subject matter experts, the work won't go undone because you've already planned for that. And how invigorated would a staff member be? And of course, you want to hire well so that folks won't take advantage of that. But having a well-being day is a benefit that doesn't cost your organization anything, and it will definitely make your staff feel taken care of and appreciated. And guess what? You can take a well-being day too. So make sure you're included in all of these things. Create a schedule, you guys, and stick to it. So if you have a schedule for today, I take usually Fridays. I take an hour or two at the end of the day on Friday and plan for the next 2 weeks. And I look at my calendar and I plan it out. If I'm not so much traveling these days, but any prep time or time to create, write the grants, or time to have supervision with staff, time to talk to board members, time to talk to donors, time to create fundraisers virtually, write letters. I take time and plan it, and I stick to it. Stick to the calendar. It'll help you to stay on task because the whirlwind will come. People will call, People will text you, people will email you, and all those sorts of things. So you have the ability to set those tasks. So you can set an hour a day to return calls. You can set an hour a day to return emails. And I'm telling you, it's a time saver because you can get on that hamster wheel with the email, and you could be on the email all day if you let it. Turn off that button sometimes so that you won't hear that little ping, because it makes you just want to, it makes you want to answer the email or read it because it's just what we do. And then the last thing I want to talk about with work-life balance is give yourself some grace, set some boundary setting, set some boundaries with staff, with families, with your coworkers, with your board. Don't send emails in the middle of the night because if I see an email in the middle of the night, I probably want to do something about it. So with all the technologies, you can schedule emails. If you are a late worker and you want to get that email out to everyone, schedule it to go in that inbox at 8 o'clock in the morning versus at 10:30 at night. Set some real boundaries, and then that privilege will be given to you because they'll say, Patricia doesn't send emails at ODOC 30, so I'll give her that same grace. So think about those types of things to set boundaries for you, set boundaries for your staff and your upline so that you all can have a good work-life balance. And you can say that, hey, I don't take emails after 8 o'clock unless it is an emergency. If you're not curing cancer, or better yet, curing the COVID-19, it's okay to not look at that email. You can wait until the morning. So set those things up for yourself. The ways to thrive. Let's get to that because this just gives me so much joy. I chose this picture because I just feel like, oh, I was lifted when I saw it. So what ways can you thrive as a nonprofit professional in your organization? How can you thrive? How can you be the best that you can be? So one thing is increase your vitamin D. First of all, we know with COVID-19, it helps with your immune system. So that means get out for a walk, and that you can go for a walk for a morning break. You take coffee breaks, so you could take a walk break. You can also take a lunch walk break. You can take a breathing break. You can take whatever breaks you need so that you can take fresh air in and push fresh air out. And guess what? When you get away from that desk, from that computer screen, your brain just starts working a little bit different. That idea might just seep into your brain because you've just detached yourself, you've untethered yourself from that electronic device, and getting some oxygen in there and flushing out those cobwebs really helps you to create, and it might jar something that you already knew versus kind of staying stuck to that email. If you're feeling like, oh, you can't write a sentence, or you just breathe out loud, oh my God, or you're sucking your teeth like I do, oh my God, that happened. It's time to get up and move about. So you've got to get some vitamin D. And then one thing else to ways to thrive is gratitude. So start a gratitude jar. And this is a good time to do it. It's Thanksgiving. We're already on the brink of a new year. Get a jar, a mason jar, a jelly jar, a coffee mug, or whatever. You can take Post-it notes and write something that you're grateful for, or journal it in the morning when you wake up or at night, because that helps you just to know how privileged and blessed that we are. And it'll help you have a different perspective when you enter that workspace or when you get on that Zoom call, because you can say really what you're grateful for. For me, every time my eyeballs open, I was like, oh, thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. Thank you that the Wi-Fi worked this morning. Thank you that I have words to say. I can be, peaceful. I can share. Thank you that I have a house to live in and warm clothes to wear. So there are plenty of things that we can be thankful for, even in these, I don't want to say uncertain times with the COVID, with the vaccine, with the racial injustice, with so many things that are happening with the everything with our new president, those types of things. We just want to take a moment to see what we're grateful for. Other things that we can thrive, and this is for you, only you, is find something new, learn something new, learn how to do something different. It could be another language, it could be a DIY project. I've been doing a lot of those being at home, and exercising your mind muscles. You may stumble upon something else that sparks your joy, and do it just for you, not because it's for work. Something that maybe you always wanted to learn how to do, maybe knit or crochet, or I don't know, build something or paint something. You can do all of those for pennies, or sketch. Just do something that is just for you, not for your kids, not for your dog, not for anybody else. And then the last thing that I want to say is connect with others. Because sometimes just talking to somebody, and it could be your board, your other nonprofit professionals, family members, and sometimes you might need to talk to a therapist, and that's okay, because we need to make sure that we're okay so that we can, be helped. When many of us are not flying these days, but we know when we did, the airline employees would always say, you put that mask on yourself first before you help someone else. So if we're running around on fire, we don't have the capacity to help our neighbor. So we have got to take care of ourselves. So this is the one time to be self-indulgent, because if we're okay, our kids are going to be okay. If we're okay, the organization is going to be running healthy. We have to go straight to the head of the line as nonprofit professionals and really make the time. I want to say this again, we have to make the time to take care of ourselves first. And I'm gonna let that sink in so y'all can let that sink in. So some tech around those things is some streaming movies, podcasts, audiobooks, Skillshare, YouTube, all those things you can do that kind of activate it. And if you need to, if you like me, you can put a time on it. Every day, I take an hour just to binge on something, some nonsense that might make me giggle, because I might need that so I can share. I might learn something, and then it may give me something to share with someone else. It may spark an idea that I can take and create something that would benefit the organization. So you need your mind to just kind of relax a little bit so it can rejuvenate and create something for your organization. You've got to thrive, because happy people are contagious. You want to be around them. You want to be near them. You want to just soak up everything they have to offer, because it's just something that you just want to be around. You think about the people who are already always coming in the office, and it's always some drama. You pretty much try to take, that's my dog. That's my dog. My dog whimpering. I'm sorry. He's not thriving today. He's not happy, but I'm trying to make him happy. Come here. All right. Say hello. Hello. All right. Goodbye. All right. So we have got to figure out ways that we can be, that we can bring that thing in our lives. So one thing that if you don't know, fake it. Fake it until you make it. Just fake it until you are happy. And I'll tell you this funny story. I remember looking on YouTube, and there was this little boy, and first of all, I'm not making fun of any religion or anything like that, but this is so prevalent. It was a little boy who was faking that he was shouting. If you all know about church, you catch the Holy Ghost and you just fake shouting or whatever. But then he actually caught the Holy Ghost, and he was really shouting. So I want to just press upon you to just fake it, fake being happy until you giggle, or watch something that makes you laugh, or do something that you was like, oh, this just doesn't work. And before you know it, it becomes a practice, and then you'll find the benefit in it. So if you have never tried to meditate, try it and see what happens. You might fall asleep the first time, but before you know it, you can calm that brain down. So fake it until you can make it, and be present. So something that you don't have to agree with me, is people like multitask. I don't agree with multitasking at all, because I used to, on the computer, taking emails on the phone, and now I don't do any of that. So if someone calls me, I turn the computer off. If I'm at home and one of my kids call, I turn the TV off so I can be present. I can hear what they said. I can really understand what they're talking to me, and my brain is not in different places. So I try to focus on what it is that I'm doing at that moment. If I'm talking to a staff member, I'm looking at them. I'm right there in the room with them. I'm not looking at the computer email. I'm not looking at papers. I'm right there with them. So try to be present. And that, for me, it gives me calm, because I know, okay, this is all that I'm going to do right now. And I can be present because guess what? I scheduled it, and it's already on my calendar, and I've got the hour blocked off, so I can give them that time and space, and we can be present together. And then the last thing that we get to, and I don't know what the time, because you guys are quiet. I think we're doing good. Self first is not selfish. Will y'all agree with me on that? Okay, I'll take it. Self first is not selfish. So we want to have a clear vision first of what we want to have for our lives. So I want to encourage you to, your organization has a mission statement, right? So you need to have a mission statement for your life. So if your organization has a mission statement, you say, if we want to do something and it falls outside of our mission statement, it doesn't align, so we're not going to do it. And that's easy. You can make that call. So as a person, you should have a mission statement. So if something happens in your life, or someone comes to you with something and it doesn't align with your mission statement, you can say, no, you're not going to do it, because you got to have some boundaries too. For me, my mission statement is to find joy, be the master of my time, and find joy in my purpose. So that can mean a lot of different things. So I really try to master my time, meaning that I try to do things in a way that honors me and honors what it is that I'm trying to take care of. And then to find joy in my purpose. So if I'm doing something that doesn't make me joyful, I try not to do it because it doesn't serve me. So you got to figure out, if you don't have one, get a mission statement for you. And then as people ask you to do things, and you can ask yourself that question, does this serve me? Do I find joy in it? Or if it aligns with your mission, then you can easily say yes. But I want to encourage you to always first say, let me check my calendar. Okay, so self first is not selfish. And you need to schedule some me time. So on my calendar, I color coded pink because all the other colors are taken. But I schedule, it's called me time. And that's for me, and that's even on weekends, because usually they say, oh, ask Patricia, she'll do it. She doesn't have any children at home or whatever. I was like, oh, I have a conflict. And it's none of their business what it is, because it could be binging on Netflix. It could be painting my toenails. It could be trying to cook, or it could be just taking a daggone nap. So just make sure you schedule that me time. And then when someone calls you and asks you or emails you or texts you, say, hey, can you help me on this? You can say, oh, I have a conflict. Or if you want to help, then you can offer some options. oh, I have this day at this time. And that way you're honoring yourself. You're honoring your time. You're putting you first. And I'm not saying tell your board and you can't do something because you got me time. I'm not telling you that at all. But I am telling you that you have the right to schedule time for you and set some boundaries around your space so that you can take care of yourself. And that will make you all the better of a professional to work in your organization. So mindfulness and meditation. So that's taking time to focus on your breath. And research shows that how we counteract the effect of stress in our bodies and our mind. So reading The Power of Now back in, I think in 2010, I was introduced to it. It changed my life because it talks about, you know, quieting that monkey that's rattling that cage in your brain. So I was a bureaucrat in DC, and it was always a briefing or a report we had to do or analysis that we had to make. And the monkeys would just rattle your cage so much that I had to take something so my brain wouldn't just be spinning all the time. So in order for folks to honor your time, you have to honor theirs. So start meetings on time, end meetings on time, and prepare. So a good example of that, and I know we've all had this experience where somebody invited you there to their house, and then they say, "Oh, excuse the mess." And so I say in my mind, not out loud, of course, because I'm polite and I'm getting my little Southern belle going. I would say, you knew I was coming. Didn't you prepare for me? So if you're having a meeting, prepare for that person. That makes them feel so much better. And the same for you. If you're prepared, it reduces the stress for you in that meeting. And then also for self-care, create a ritual. So whatever that is. So for me in the morning, I have a morning ritual. I don't have a spa or a steam shower. Some of you may, and if you do, maybe you, I don't know, that's so nice, but I don't. So put a couple drops of eucalyptus oil in your shower. It'll change your life. Seriously, it'll just make you hum maybe in the morning. If you've got a mirror, most of us do, put affirmations with sticky notes at the top of your mirror. I'm beautiful, I'm loved, I am powerful, I'm enough. Whatever you need to say to yourself, because if you say it, you got to go to the bathroom every day. I hope you are. If you're not, okay, that's another webinar. Brittany, you got to schedule that. Make sure you are speaking affirmations to yourself that empower you. And over time, it will be a habit. It will be believable because it will be the truth. So you've got to set that time. So at nighttime, you've got to get rest. So rest is important. Invest, if you haven't, in a good mattress or a good pillow until you get to that point. And make sure you go to bed at the same time every night. Rise up at the same time every morning. It definitely helps your body to level out. Get a cup of tea, or again, aromatherapy. Again, it could be in your shower again, whatever that smell is, what you need to do to take that 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So if your ritual in the mornings to get up and do your devotion, some of us may have to get up earlier while the house is still to have that time. And maybe you get up earlier, have that time and go back to bed, whatever that might look for you, but carve out that ritual for you. So you know, today I took care of me first. So you've got to make that time for you. You've got to. And then the last thing is music. Music is healing. I know, you know, this is just a unbelievable year we're having with the COVID, and we're losing loved ones, and all the police violence or racial injustice, and all of these things that are happening in the world. We've got to figure out how do we kind of elevate and become above it. And one day I was just feeling just blue and not the color. So I just put on some music and I started dancing. No, all Black people can't dance, okay? But I was dancing my butt off, and it didn't matter because my dog can't dance either. But I just danced, and it just made me feel better. And so when I'm feeling like I'm gonna get a little blue, I just get some good music on and I blast it, and I just dance in my den until I can't dance anymore. So I've checked 2 boxes. I'm feeling better. My endorphins are up with 3, and I did some exercise. So figure it out, you guys. You've got to figure it out because change is not going to happen by itself. It needs somebody to turn on the light. It needs us to activate it. So you put on those earrings in the morning, whatever they are, or for guys out there, that nice watch or that t-shirt or whatever it is, that you're who you are. And you've got to bring that forth because it takes the energy to make that happen. So let me just recap a couple things. We've got to communicate. If you need some time off, you've got to communicate that to your board, or if your staff members need some time off, because y'all are not mind readers. Y'all don't have a crystal ball. So you've got to communicate what you need, because so many times we say, they should know what I need. Well, guess what? They don't. So you got to tell them, hey, I need to take Friday off because I just need to regroup. I need to recharge. And because you've scheduled your task out, you could take that day. So you've got to plan that too. So schedule those big rocks and communicate with the people that you need to, so that you can be well and the leader or the nonprofit that your organization deserves. And then work-life balance. You've got to make time for those loved ones, because it is true that folks that work nonprofits, you put on a bunch of hats, but you got to take them off because your family needs some of your time too. And they deserve some of your time, and you deserve some of their time. So you've got to make sure you set that up and make that happen, and it'll recharge you. So do that in your work-life balance. And then ways to thrive. One thing doesn't fit all. You've got to figure out what is that thing that's gonna make you feel like you can, go out and jump on the world. You've got to decide what that is. No one else can do that but you. And build in some wellness days. I really want you all to go to your board and let them know that you all need to get a couple wellness days in your policy, like for sick leave or whatever, because people need that now, so they can be okay. And then hire well. Hire folks that you know that can do the job, will do the job, when nobody's looking. You know who they are and you know who they're not. It might take a little longer to find those folks, but take the time to hire well. So we hire slow and we fire fast, right? That's what we do. So we want to do more and more of those types of things to make sure that we're okay. And then last but not least, I just want to say that nonprofit professionals are really superheroes. You all know that, right? You're a superheroes. Seriously, you help people even when they don't know what to do or how to be helped. You direct traffic, you make do, and you're just amazing, amazing folks. You're hardworking, you're compassionate, but self-care must be a priority to sustain your organization. It must be, because if it's not, it's going to fall to the wayside because you're going to burn out. And as one of my good friends told me, and I'm quoting her, she worked for the Park Service, and she said, you don't want to lean over and count the holes in the screen door, because if you do that, you might be a little crazy. Okay. I fell out when she told me that. I need you guys to be fearless, because you got to. I need you to charge forward. If you didn't get a PPP loan, I'm sorry. If you didn't get the COVID-19 money, I'm sorry. But please navigate in the stream of abundance. We don't have to compete against each other. There's enough out there for all of us. We should help each other. So like each other's pages, share and like, friend, because there's enough. There's enough out there that we can help everybody. So don't get in that scarcity mentality where we got to compete, or, you know, there's not enough money. Well, yeah, there is. There's enough money, and we can help each other in that road. So I hope you can open up your mics if you have um, things to do. I know for Lee County Literacy, we right now, we share information. We are navigating virtually. I do go to the office, but we're connecting tutors and learners via Zoom. We also deploy tablets. So for some of our learners that has Wi-Fi, but no computer, we have a tablet for them. So we deploy that and they can still connect with their tutor online. We provide our workshops online, and we've gotten a little creative with those. We've got some interesting things. I'd love to invite all of you. We have a podcast called How Did You Become a Reader? And we've had some people to join that. If you're interested, please email me and I can sit down and we can do a podcast and we'll put it on our website. If people do listen, because sometimes people gain knowledge from just listening. And then we talk about how did you become a reader? Then we talk about the services that you offer. And then we fold it out with, you know, workshops that we've got coming up. So it's a win-win. The community wins, our organizations win, and we can partner together to make our community better. So that's all I got. Except my dog wanted to say something. Okay, he said no. All right, I just want to thank you all, and I hope that you all have a wonderful and just wonderful Thanksgiving. And if you do go around family members, please, 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 social distance, wear a mask, consider a Zoom. You can borrow mine if you want. And that's all I have. If you all have any questions, let me know. And I'm going to turn it back over to Brittany.
Thank you so much. That was great. I was going to see, because we have just a few minutes left, if anyone wanted to open up their mic or put in the chat anything that you learned today that you're going to take forward with you. So for me, I'll go ahead and start while y'all are thinking. I need to craft a mission statement for my life. And I think that would be awesome. That, and I need to remember that self first is not selfish. That is something that, especially us in this industry and women, we have a hard time remembering that. So anyone else want to share what you're taking forward with you?
Well, I want to share one thing that we've implemented over the past couple weeks. One of my coworkers and I would do on Mondays, Mindful Mondays. So at our office at the Circle of Care, we have, it's pretty structured. It's 8 to 12. We have a 15-minute break that we're allowed to take during that time. And then we're lunch 12 to 1, 1 to 5, and another 15-minute break. So we have been doing a 10 a.m. Mindful Monday and then a 3 p.m. And so Brad actually walked us through the Elevate curriculum, part of the Elevate curriculum. Anyway, so we did breathing, and then what did we do? Some chair yoga, and then a body scan was another one. And we've kind of created a theme for each week. So the first week it was water and the importance of drinking more water for our bodies. And then the second week was sleep. And the next week we'll do gratitude with Thanksgiving as well. But it's a really nice way to invite all of us to come together just for a few minutes and do something that helps us to calm down and release the stress.
That is awesome. And it's awesome that you also have leadership, leading that, because then, as Patricia said, you follow their lead, and it really helps you throughout your day. All right, could you repeat? And Patricia, could you please repeat the task completion communication for teams?
Say it again.
We have a little question from Nancy in the chat that says, could you repeat the tasks completion communication you mentioned for teams?
Yeah, I was trying to remember how you put that, Patricia. It was when you were talking about the Microsoft Teams, Google Docs, and you listed something that you captured all the different tasks that needed to be.
Monday.com. I emailed you guys. I put it in the chat pod handout of every area that I went through. So it's got that up there. The leveraging technologies. Monday.com is where you can add people and you can assign them a task, and then you can see the progression of their completing it and who's doing it and when they finished it and everything. It's like it's basically project management, but it's in a more simplified version, so that people can stay on task. It's a wonderful software, and then it's web-based, so everybody can see in real time. You can add documents so that it's not a whole bunch of emails going on. If somebody wants to see what's happening, they can just go to that and then figure it out. But Microsoft Teams will do the same thing, or Google Docs will do the same thing. So you just got to figure out what you already have and make it work for you, so that as you all are social distancing, because you guys really think about it, this, even after the COVID, even after the vaccine, a lot of businesses and nonprofits specifically are going to look at how we employ people. We're going to look at how will they be able to work from home, or is that cost effective, or is it more productive? So get your digital literacy together. And if you need help, you can call Lee County Literacy. We'll help you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you, Patricia, for putting that in the chat. I will be attaching that in our follow-up emails so that you can have that document as well. Yeah, I love to have lists, but I've used Microsoft Teams and also Pipefy, and they have been very helpful for me, especially when I have interns and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a great idea. Anyone else want to share anything in the last couple minutes we have? All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending today. And again, Patricia, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. And I really enjoyed what I learned today. I have a whole list of notes to remind myself to take care of myself. And again, if you haven't checked out their Facebook page and all the programs that y'all are putting on in the podcast, it's just incredible what y'all are doing, and it's inspirational for me when we're doing our programs as well. So again, thanks everyone, and keep an eye out for your email. And I hope you all have a great day and a great Thanksgiving. Stay safe.
Hey, Jane. Bye, Jane. Hey, Ashley.
Thank you, ladies, very much. That was wonderful, Patricia.
Thank you.